good morning. All right, Amazon. Flash briefing.
Jamie, here's the latest from your flash briefing. In NPR News.
Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Dave Mattingly. Republican negotiators in Congress are once again calling on the White House to agree to spending cuts to help get a deal done to raise the debt ceiling. Here's House Majority Whip Tom Emmer of Minnesota speaking this morning.
To this day, we're the only ones that have provided a solution to avoid default. It's now up to the president to come to the table, come to the table with some ideas so that we can make real strides to address this issue.
President Biden and House Speaker Kevin McCarthy wrapped up their latest meeting yesterday, saying they were optimistic an agreement will be reached to avoid a default. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen has repeatedly warned the federal government could default as early as June 1st without a hike in the debt limit. Police in Washington, D.C. say it was a 19-year-old man from Missouri who rammed a rental truck into security barricades at Lafayette Park last night across from the White House. Investigators say they believe the man did so purposely. He's facing multiple charges, including assault with a dangerous weapon. Police say nobody was injured. A new study finds U.S. military veterans have lower rates of support for violent extremist groups than non-veterans. NPR's Quill Lawrence says the results are from the RAND Corporation.
Despite many high-publicity cases of veterans involved in far-right violence, including the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol, a national survey of about 1,000 veterans found those cases are outliers. Todd Helmus is with RAND.
In terms of support for extremist groups and also extremist ideologies, on the most part, they were lower than what we see in representative surveys of the general public.
That includes support for the far-right Proud Boys, for white supremacy, and on the left, lower support for the anti-fascist Antifa than the general public. Support among veterans for the idea of violence in politics was about the same as for non-veterans. Quill Lawrence, NPR News.
Officials in California are downplaying concerns about potential flooding from the state's historic mountain snowpack. Here's NPR's Nathan Roth.
An area roughly the size of New Orleans is already flooded in California's southern Central Valley after a series of epic winter storms earlier this year. And for months, the communities just outside that flooded area, tens of thousands of people, have worried that a melting snowpack means they're next. State water officials aim to alleviate those concerns, saying that weather conditions, strengthened levees, and efforts to divert water upstream should keep the towns from flooding. Snowmelt is expected to peak across much of the state in the coming weeks. Nathan Rott, NPR News.
This is NPR News from Washington. Authorities in northern Thailand say 7 people have been killed in the collapse of a metal roof at a school. That roof gave way yesterday during rainy weather and strong winds about 185 miles north of Bangkok. Most of those killed were children. More than 15 others were hospitalized.
Was it a rookie welder?
There have been protests today in several areas of Ethiopia's Tigray region. As Michael Koloki reports, demonstrators called for the withdrawal of foreign troops.
Thousands of people demonstrated in various parts of Tigray, including in the regional capital Mekelle and the cities of Adigrat and Shire. The protesters were demanding the withdrawal of foreign troops from the region, whom they claim had taken part in a 2-year conflict in which the Ethiopian military had engaged in clashes with Tigray forces. Thousands were killed and millions displaced during the conflict. It ended last year following the signing of a peace agreement between the Ethiopian government and the Tigray People's Liberation Front, or TPLF. Demonstrators taking part in the protests in Tigray also issued calls for the return of those who had been displaced from their homes during the fighting. For NPR News, I am Michael Kaloki in Nairobi.
This year's NBA Finals will include the Denver Nuggets. Last night in Los Angeles, the Nuggets completed a 4-game sweep of the Lakers with a 113-111 win in the Western Conference Finals. LeBron James scored 40 points for the Lakers in the loss. This will be Denver's first trip to the NBA Finals. The Nuggets will play either Miami or Boston in the championship series. Stocks are mixed on Wall Street. The Dow is down 2 points. I'm Dave Mattingly in Washington.
Life doesn't come with an instruction manual.
All right, Amazon.
Life Kit Pod?
Skip.
In NASA news, NASA has selected a new mission to help humanity better understand Earth's dynamic atmosphere, specifically ice clouds that form at high altitudes throughout tropical and subtropical regions. The Pulsar instrument, short for Polarized Submillimeter Ice Cloud Radiometer, will study such ice clouds to determine how and why they change throughout.
Of ice clouds above tropical climates.
NASA will provide live launch and docking coverage of the Roscosmos Progress 84 cargo spacecraft carrying about 3 tons of food, fuel, and supplies for the Expedition 69 crew aboard the International Space Station. 4 private astronauts are in orbit following the successful launch of Axiom Mission 2, AX-2, the second all-private astronaut mission to the International Space Station. Axiom space astronauts lifted off at 5:37 p.m. EDT on Sunday, May 21st, from Launch Complex 39A at NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Florida. NASA has awarded a contract extension to the Association of Universities for Research in Astronomy Space Telescope Science Institute in Baltimore for the support services required for the agency's Nancy Grace Roman Space Telescope Science operations.
All right. Well, that seems
NASA has announced 8 winning teams and awarded $750,000 in prizes in the second phase of the agency's Deep Space Food Challenge. The winning teams will move on to compete in the third and final phase of the challenge. In weather. Currently, in Seattle, it's 52 degrees Fahrenheit with mostly cloudy skies. Today, you can expect intermittent clouds with a high of 65 degrees and a low of 53 degrees. From NASA.
All right, Amazon.
NASA has selected a new mission to help.
Off. Amazon. Tell us a joke today.
Today, I've got a pasta joke. Why didn't the spaghetti get a perm? Because it would look silly.
Well, I was thinking it'd turn into a noodle, but all right. Peace, love, prosperity. Have a good day. Hang loose.